face off against each other.
Would I be successful without him? I don't believe I would have been.
Just do your job, right? Hey, take it to another level, right?
But I feel the same vice versa as well.
You know what Tom's going to do with this.
Let's go!
I can't wait to watch it because it's like a chess match between these two sides.
The return is almost here. The date's been circled on our calendar since the schedule became official. Tom Brady heading back to Foxborough for a matchup with Bill Belichick. Adam Schefter, what do we need to know?
Laura, when you talk to the people at the Buccaneers practice this week who watch Tom Brady, they say he always has an intensity in his eye, but it was more noticeable than ever before this past week. And everybody can say all they want. It's just another game. The people around the game, no, it's not just another game.
Yeah, I believe you. Marcus, what's got you excited?
Listen, y'all know I love petty. I love all of the pettiness that's been surrounding this football game, especially between Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. But now we finally get to the field, and we are going to see if the master will be able to contain the student or the student has surpassed the master.
For me, it's about the actual schematic matchup. It's what have they learned in some of those Tuesday meetings about one another? What does Tom Brady know that Bill Belichick likes to do, quarterback like himself? And what adjustments can Bill Belichick make to affect Tom Brady in the best way that he knows possible? These are two of the masters at their craft, the greatest of all time, doing what both do, finally facing off. I mean, this is the practice we've always wanted insight into, and now we got it.
So nobody expects Mac Jones to be Tom Brady, but in order for the Patriots to compete in this, he needs to be better than he's been in the early going, specifically throwing the ball downfield, because if there's one area where the Bucs are weak, it is their secondary. Mac, find your deep ball this week, be more aggressive, be more accurate throwing it deep.
All right, you'll see Mina, Ryan, Marcus, and Adam for the next hour as we welcome you to NFL Live. We've also got live reports coming from the Bucs and the Pats, plus what Cliff and Kyler need to do in a matchup of undefeated NFC West teams against the Chargers. But let's go back to this Patriots and Bucs matchup where the ticket is so hot it's like unaffordable for regular people. Eye-popping prices here. According to Vivid Seats, the average ticket price for this game is $1,100. That's a higher price ticket than the 2019 Stanley Cup Final, Game 5, and Game 6 of the 2013 World Series. Quarterbacks returning to play their former teams have produced several classics. We got the dollar bills flying here on NFL Live. And like in 1994, when Joe Montana, in the final season of his career, faced the 49ers and longtime backup quarterback Steve Young, Montana led the Chiefs to a 24-17 victory. And then also this, after 16 seasons with the Packers, Brett Favre faced Green Bay for the first time on Monday Night Football. He threw for 24-31, 3 touchdowns, 0 picks, and a 30-23 Vikings win. And who could forget when Peyton returned to Indy for his first game against the Colts, threw for 3 scores, nearly 400 yards, but had an interception and a safety, which gave the 6-0 Broncos their first loss. So Manning may have lost that one, but he won plenty of others. In fact, he's one of only 3 quarterbacks to have defeated all 32 current franchises along with Favre and Drew Brees. On Sunday, Tom Brady could become the 4th. The only team that stands in his way is his former team. So let's bring in ESPN Patriots reporter Mike Reese from Foxborough. Mike, that change, or what change did the Patriots make today in preparation for Sunday night's game against Tom Brady and the Bucs?
Laura, part of what makes this so fascinating is the chess match, right, between Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. And Belichick made a subtle move on the chessboard 2 days before the game where he took the team's practice from the outside fields and said, let's go inside the stadium and practice inside there. It's not something he does very often. He does it from time to time. And I asked him what the team benefits from doing that. And he said they can get familiar with the environment and really work through some of the wind patterns, specifically in the kicking game, where they've struggled a little bit over the last couple of weeks. So we heard the loud music playing in the stadium, so getting ready for that environment. Belichick didn't want to overstate the importance of it, Laura, but in a game where every little thing counts, Belichick, Brady moving inside the stadium was a notable move by Belichick today.
Yeah, Mike, to Adam's point off the top of the show, both sides may be saying, oh, this one really doesn't matter any more than any other game, but we all know that's absolutely not true. We've got a Bucs report coming later in the show, but thanks so much to Mike Reese for joining us here. Now let's get to the guys here in Mina. Let's start with you, RC. As we dive into this actual matchup, I want to go on Belichick's plan for Tom Brady. What's that going to look like from the defensive standpoint since he knows Brady so incredibly well?
Belichick is going to understand that the way to affect Tom Brady is to get pressure in his face. And I know people are going to say, well, that's how you affect every quarterback. But I think specifically Tom Brady, because when you rush him off the edge, he's so adept at stepping up in the pocket and maneuvering around. And sometimes we don't look at him as a mobile quarterback, but he's a guy that manipulates the pocket and gets the football off. You're also going to have to disguise great against Tom Brady. You can't show him exactly what you're going to play. He's going to have to figure this out while he's dropping so he can see pieces moving. Hopefully that makes him hold the ball a tick and allows you to get to him. The Patriots aren't good enough on the back end to just line up and play against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They can't just line up and single high and say, Tom, come get us. They can't just show two high safeties and figure that Tom won't get the Tampa Bay Buccaneers into the right run or quick play. And so for Bill Belichick, it's going to be an ultimate chess match of how do I get pressure but not put myself in bad position for Tom Brady to take advantage of me.
Yeah, Ryan, you're absolutely right. It's one of those axioms that we've said so many times over the last now nearly 20 years for a reason.
Yeah.
Josh Brady was bored. There's simply no other way to beat him. They're going to play the hits, in large part because, as you mentioned, the secondary isn't what it was before, especially with Stephon Gilmore out. But unfortunately for New England, unlike, say, the Rams last week, who kind of laid out the blueprint, they don't have Aaron Donald. So getting pressure with four isn't simply a matter of like our three tech can win on the inside. They've got to play games up front, stunts, twists. They have a lot of weapons in that front seven now. I consider Josh Uche, Matt Judon to be weapons. Christian Barmore has been really good rushing the passer early on as well. It's all about deploying them and confusing that Bucs offensive line to, as you said, get in Tom Brady's face.
Yeah, Marcus, maybe lost in all this is the guy who's trying to replace Tom Brady in New England, Mac Jones. What do you need to see from him Sunday night?
Oh, you mean they got like other players playing in this game?
I think
like
so.
It's more people than just Brady and Belichick? Yeah, I expect Todd Bowles to light him up. Listen, we all understand and talked about Mac Jones, but obviously him being a rookie, and you look at what Todd Bowles likes to do anyway. He wants to make the quarterback uncomfortable. But Mac Jones will not be able to dink and dunk and win this football game. There will have to be chunk plays when they're available. He just needs to connect with these guys. Aguilar needs to get separation. Kendrick Bourne, separation. This tight end unit needs to play well. Everyone, all hands on deck for a rookie quarterback going against this defense. And not to mention, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers can get rushed with just four guys. So Mac Jones will have to decipher and think fast. But when you look at this matchup from his standpoint, from Mac Jones' standpoint, all he's thinking about is I have to control the chaos. It's chaotic because Brady and Belichick is in the stadium. It's chaotic because it's Tampa and the Pats with all of this history that they have going in. He's going to have to calm himself down because I guarantee you, Todd Bowles will make him nervous enough outside of everything that's happening around this game. He's going to have to be on it. But remember, those explosive plays will have to happen for the New England Patriots to have a chance to win this game. And that's up to Mac Jones.
Yeah, it's interesting, guys, as you're talking about Mac Jones. I'm actually in Tuscaloosa right now ahead of the Alabama-Ole Miss game tomorrow, and it's just making me think about all the big stages that he was on in a short period of time in his time at Alabama. To your point, he's had that experience, but this is a whole new level, and this spotlight's brighter than anyone that he's seen. Now, we know that Tom Brady, of course, is going to be going to New England for this game. The questions are about who's going to join him in this one. Let's get Adam back in here because, Adam, Gronk did not practice Wednesday or Thursday this week. What did we learn today about his status?
He was limited to the side, spotted at practice, stretching. We'll see what that means for his availability later this weekend. Bruce Arians said it'll be a game-time decision about whether Rob Gronkowski will be able to play through the rib injury that he suffered on Sunday against the Los Angeles Rams and whether or not he can play against the New England Patriots' 2 DNPs earlier this week. As for the Tennessee Titans, they'll be without their top 2 wideouts Sunday against the New York Jets. A.J. Brown and Julio Jones both ruled out of the game on Sunday, and so they are out, and that means that you'll see a heavy dose of Derrick Henry up against the New York Jets. Meanwhile, the Baltimore Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson returned to practice today after missing 2 days of practice And it's a situation where right now it seems like if there are no setbacks, Lamar Jackson is on track to start Sunday in Denver against the Broncos, despite the fact that he missed those 2 days of practice. And Matt Nagy, the Bears head coach, said today to reporters that it'll be a game time decision. Not actually at the game time. That's always a pet peeve of mine, Laura, because they don't make it at the game time. But a pregame decision about who's going to start at quarterback. Andy Dalton limited today. Justin Fields off the injury report, full participant. We'll see what Matt Nagy decides to do in the pregame warm-ups, not game time.
Yeah, petition to get that changed. No more of this game time decision nonsense. We're
Ridiculous.
saying pregame decision as we go forward for Adam Schefter. We got a whole lot more coming your way on NFL Live, so keep it locked right here. We're recapping the battle of the #1 draft picks last night. What was the turning point for Joe Burrow in this game? RC's going to tell us the intangible characteristic that sets him apart.
To the side, spotted at practice, stretching. We'll see what that means for his availability later this weekend. Bruce Arians said it'll be a game time decision about whether Rob Gronkowski will be able to play through the rib injury that he suffered on Sunday against the Los Angeles Rams and whether or not he can play against the New England Patriots, 2 DNPs earlier this week. As for the Tennessee Titans, they'll be without their top 2 wideouts Sunday against the New York Jets. A.J. Brown and Julio Jones both ruled out of the game on Sunday, and so they are out, and that means that you'll see a heavy dose of Derrick Henry up against the New York Jets. Meanwhile, the Baltimore Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson returned to practice today after missing 2 days of practice. And it's a situation where right now it seems like if there are no setbacks, Lamar Jackson is on track to start Sunday in Denver against the Broncos, despite the fact that he missed those 2 days of practice. And Matt Nagy, the Bears head coach, said today to reporters that it'll be a game time decision. Not actually at the game time. That's always a pet peeve of mine, Laura, because they don't make it at the game time. But a pregame decision about who's going to start at quarterback. Andy Dalton limited today. Justin Fields off the injury report, full participant. We'll see what Matt Nagy decides to do in the pregame warm-ups, not game time.
Yeah, petition to get that changed. No more of this game time decision nonsense. We're
Ridiculous.
saying pregame decision as we go forward for Adam Schefter. We got a whole lot more coming your way on NFL Live, so keep it locked right here. We're recapping the battle of the #1 draft picks last night. What was the turning point for Joe Burrow in this game? RC's going to tell us the intangible characteristic that sets him apart. For being with us on NFL Live. Oh boy, we got another game pick scrap. Look at us all tailgate. We got the shish kebabs going. Let's go. Marcus, is that your hand holding? I can't figure out where Mina is, though. She's like in the back. She's in the tailgate.
Yeah, I got a wig.
All right, enough of that. It's
Well,
so
we
much
all
fun,
know
though.
I'm cooking.
Yeah, you are. Let's get some game picks for
Absolutely.
Sunday. RC, Steelers in Green Bay against Rodgers. Who you got?
Well, you know I'm a Steeler till I die, so you know who I'm picking. The Green Bay Packers. Listen, the Pittsburgh Steelers, they just don't have it right now. Listen, you can't block up front. You can't protect Ben Roethlisberger. You also can't create any inverted line of scrimmage for Najee Harris to get the run game going. They just aren't good enough right now. And we watched Aaron Rodgers get that old thing back in San Francisco, so him and Devontae Adams will be rolling.
Mina, Browns and Vikings. Who wins?
I have the Browns, pardon me, but I don't think it's going to be easy because as we saw last week at the Vikings upsetting Seattle, nearly upsetting Arizona the week before, they have a very good offense. The problem is I don't think Minnesota's defense can stop the run, and of course the Cleveland Browns have the most devastating rushing attack in the NFL.
Yeah.
Marcus, Carson Wentz to the Colts still winless. Do they get their first win in Miami?
I want to say yes, but I'm not going with the Colts. I'm going with the Miami Dolphins. Jacoby Brissett wants some revenge. And you look at this defense for the Miami Dolphins, I think they turned Carson Wentz over at least once or twice in this game, especially with the potential of him being hampered. I like the way this Dolphins team is playing, especially with Jacoby Brissett. And that's not an indictment on Tua. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're in trouble for that one. Hey, it's okay, though. Let's go back to last night. Joe Burrow and the Bengals hosted the Jaguars on Thursday night. Comeback was on in this one. Fourth quarter, the Bengals are down by 7, but Joe Burrow says no problem finding C.J. Uzoma. He runs in for his second touchdown of the game. The Bengals tie the game at 21-all. as part of this comeback. Next Bengals possession, it's the same score, 3rd and 1 from their own 31. And Burrow is sacked for a loss. The drive looks to be over, but there's a flag for holding on the defense. So first down for Cincinnati. Urban Meyer's like, what's going on here? All right, later in the drive, Bengals on the Jags 46, 2nd and 14. Marcus loves the play call. Once again, that connection great all night long. Burrow loves it. They're now in field goal range. So Evan McPherson for the game-winning field goal attempt. 35-yard kick is good. And the Bengals come from behind to win 24-21 at home. Let's get some quick reads on this game. RC, what'd you see from Joey B?
Listen, Joe Burrow went into the locker room at halftime. He put the ski mask on and he came out about that action. Started right away with the big bomb to Jamar Chase, and then he hits Uzomah on the boot. Also, later on in the game, the big 3rd down throw to Tyler Boyd when it was great coverage. And then we got to see him move around a little bit, show us that this knee is healthy, this knee is fresh, and make a huge throw late in the game to the tight end again for another touchdown. Lead the drive for the field goal. Joe Burrow is a dude, and he showed that in the second half last night.
Mina, how about Trevor Lawrence in the loss? They were winning the game for a while.
Yeah, if I was a Jacksonville fan, I'd be really happy with what you saw out of Trevor. Or rather, what you didn't see was interception, turnover-worthy plays, unforced errors. You saw a quarterback who took care of the football instead of pressing, checked down to his legs, and then made some of those special throws we're accustomed to seeing throughout his college career. I think this is Trevor Lawrence's best game yet.
Oh, wow. The Jaguars were the closest they've come to a win this season on Thursday night. They led 14-0 to the half, as I mentioned. A lead that could have been 21 if not for a failed goal line, 4th and 1. 35-yard field goal as time expired. And here's Urban Meyer after the game.
That's devastating, heartbreaking. You know, these guys, usually I'm not wrong about stuff like that I just see a good team in there. I see good guys, and I see good hearts. I see guys at work. And I told him I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong about that stuff. And this team's going to win some games.
Marcus, you see anything you liked from Urban Meyer last night?
You know what? It's easy for me to rail on coaches. Y'all know that. But I thought Urban Meyer summed that game up perfectly because that team, Jacksonville, played well. But this is not the first week in a row. This is the second week in a row. They played against the Cardinals, played a good game for a large majority of that game against the Arizona Cardinals as well. When you think about a young team, though, you want them to get over the hump so you can get some of that juice going. And that's what Urban Meyer is talking about, especially when those guys thought that they would be able to close that one out against the Bengals.
Yeah, last night as we were watching the game, we're all going back and forth like, oh, all right, Trevor Lawrence, all right, Jaguars. And it felt like something special.
El Boogie, it's amazing how these quarterbacks can develop while they playing the damn game, huh? I mean,
crazy.
My goodness.
And when they have the
really?
scheme.
Really?
All right, guys, enough. Let's get Adam Schefter in here for the DraftKings Daily Fantasy lineup. Adam, who made your roster this week?
Well, Laura, this is normally we're going to fill out his DraftKings fantasy lineup for him and take over and see if we can exceed what he normally does. We're going to start with Russell Wilson at quarterback and spend up on Russell Wilson, being that he's never lost 3 straight games during his NFL career. He's got a San Francisco team missing some cornerbacks. Russell Wilson figures to have a big day on Sunday. Tyler Lockett hasn't practiced much, but he should be able to go, and DK Metcalf will be out there, and Russell Wilson usually plays pretty well against the Seahawks. We also have Devonta Smith, the Eagles wide receiver, who should be in a matchup where he has to catch passes and score points against the Kansas City Chiefs. And at tight end, we're going to spend down and go with the Carolina Panthers tight end, Tommy Tremble. Keep this name in mind, Tommy Tremble. He's a guy that I think will be a factor this season. A young tight end, made some plays last game against the Houston Texans. I think the Panthers are excited about him, and one of the reasons they were willing to trade Dan Arnold this week to the Jacksonville Jaguars to get C.J. Henderson. Tommy Tremble makes the lineup that Field wishes he could have projected and picked out.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to definitely show Field this lineup next week, Adam, and if you end up being more right than Field is, that's going to be a real showdown. I don't know what we're going to do about that.
Let's show Field how it's done. Let's try to do that at least, and let's see what the results show, Laura.
I love it. Next on NFL Live, we have a live report from Tampa Bay.
Yeah, Laura, Red Zone Robbie G returned to practice today for the first time since suffering a rib injury in the third quarter last week against the Rams. He returned to finish out the game, but we didn't see him practice on Wednesday or Thursday. Friday's typically his day off, but he was out there today. Still, though, Bruce Arians said he's going to be a game-time decision, and the injury report that just came out a few moments ago officially lists him as doubtful. There have been instances, though, where players have been listed as doubtful and they've still gone on to play on Sunday. 2 games that actually come to mind for me with Rob Gronkowski, actually, where he missed multiple practices during the week would be the Super Bowl 52, where he had an injury leading up to that game. He had a concussion, missed multiple practices, and then also Super Bowl 46, where he had a high ankle sprain.
Yeah, it's a good point, Jenna. You never know what can happen, but something to keep an eye on either way. Also, Gronk wasn't the only new face back at practice. What can you tell us about Jason Pierre-Paul's return?
Yeah, Bruce Arians said earlier this week that it was very unlikely that Pierre-Paul would play Sunday. But to all of our surprise, he was back practicing today. And I asked Arians about that, and he said, yeah, nothing surprises me about him. And if you go back and watch that Rams game, Matthew Stafford just carved them up as a defense because they weren't getting a whole lot of pressure up front. That's going to be crucial against Mac Jones. They love to rattle him, and Pierre-Paul would be a big part of that. It's not just what he does physically, though. Will Golston told me he lights a fire under all of us. He is one of their biggest emotional leaders on defense. They'd really like to be able to have his juice out there. But also, it could really help those guys out on the back end because they're going to be down 2 out of 3 starting cornerbacks. Jamel Dean has been ruled out of this game with a knee injury. Richard Sherman is going to be active, but Arians said they're really just activating him more as an insurance policy than anything. He wouldn't, though, name a starter as far as who's going to be playing against the Patriots.
Yeah, Richard Sherman just added a couple days ago. It would be fascinating if he ends up in this game for some reason. Thanks for the latest from Jenna Lane from Tampa and the Bucs side. And you heard Jenna mentioning the Rams. Let's get there as they've got a big matchup. They're flying high into Week 4, coming off of their 34-24 win over Tom Brady and the Bucs last week, which left LA as one of 5 remaining undefeated teams. Now they'll face another 3-0 team in the Cardinals. It'll be a battle in the trenches, as much as you say about the quarterbacks. The Cardinals' offensive line ranks 4th in pass block win rate this season. Meanwhile, the Rams defense is 5th in pass rush win rate. Could pose a serious challenge to Kyler Murray. Mina, looking at Arizona and that offense, what do you expect from them on Sunday?
Well, Laura, this is a real heat check moment for them because early on they haven't exactly faced a murderer's row of defenses between, Titans, Vikings, and Jaguars, and the Rams, one of the better units in the league. I think from the Cardinals' perspective, what's been so encouraging is the way in which they've succeeded. Specifically, Kyler Murray playing so well, throwing the ball so well on early downs in rhythm from inside the pocket. They have absolutely shredded defenses when they go 10 personnel with 4 wide receivers on the field. A lot of that is because of the rookie, Rondale Moore. It's just simply a better group. It's not like the offense is entirely different. They're still doing a ton of screens. They just happen to have a lot of weapons who can convert those screens and short passes into positive yardage down. So to me, for Arizona, it's all about those early downs and not getting in 3rd long, because if you're in 3rd and long against the Rams defense, you probably lost.
Trouble.
See, this is exactly why I like doing TV with Mina, because she sets you up with her great points. She's absolutely right. This team, the Arizona Cardinals, have been excellent on 1st down, and Kyler Murray has been operating at a very high rate. But what does Cliff Kingsbury do when it gets into 3rd down, when we get into the 4th quarter, and he's matched up against a guy like Sean McVay? And hell, since this is just the Tom Brady episode, remember, Cliff Kingsbury was drafted by the New England Patriots. He probably had a cup of coffee with Tom. Maybe some of that could rub off and he can have some of that competitiveness. Maybe he can make some of those adjustments, because we haven't seen that in the couple of years he's been with the Arizona Cardinals. When Kyler Murray isn't making plays, when things aren't happening that he felt like the way they felt like they would coming into the game, Cliff Kingsbury has struggled to make adjustments. And one thing that Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, Raheem Morris will make you do is adjust. So I want to see the true coaching moment, the schematic maneuvering of Cliff Kingsbury when it comes down to critical football moments.
Oh, that's enough about Cliff. I'm going to go to the other side of the ball with Vance Joseph because he has his work cut out for him too. And he has to have a number of looks, RC and Mina. Y'all know this. He has to get creative and also let his four-man rush eat. But at times, you have to give a three-man look, play underneath, and get off the field. Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods kills people with yards after the catch.
Yeah.
You have to come up and rally. And then you give different looks schematically. This is just a normal mug-up linebacker. He's trying to pick the inside defensive tackle, make this pocket muddy for Matthew Stafford. Don't give him a lot of time to dissect and diagnose. And then when that ball gets out of his hand, they have to rally. Vance Joseph has a lot of pieces on his defense. Isaiah Simmons, Budda Baker, how physical he is in the box. And then you think about J.J. Watt and Chandler Jones up front. Those stars, the stars on the Arizona Cardinals defense has to show up early and often if they have a chance at winning this football game. Because right now, the way the Rams offense is rolling, it doesn't look like anybody's stopping that train.
Yeah, according to ESPN's FPI, this actually has the highest pregame matchup quality of any game going into the week. So that's kind of an interesting way to look at it. Also, the Rams, 61% chance to win. So they agree with some of what you guys are saying. All right, coming up on NFL Live, the Ravens traveling west to take on the undefeated. Adam Schefter jumping back in. Some notable names ruled out Sunday. Adam, what can you tell us?
Well, a group of wide receivers are not going to be playing on Sunday, Laura. If we take a look at the full screen right here, no A.J. Brown, no Julio Jones, no pair of Giants wide receivers, Sterling Shepard, Darius Slayton. They're going to want to get their first-round pick, Kadarius Toney, involved in no Quentin Nelson for the Indianapolis Colts in a game in which they're also listing Carson Wentz as questionable as the Colts look to bounce back. Meanwhile, Minnesota Vikings are listing Dalvin Cook, who was a limited participant in practice today after not playing last week, as questionable for Sunday's game against the Cleveland Browns. I don't think it's automatic that Cook is playing just yet. We'll see how it goes the rest of the weekend, how he's feeling Sunday before the Vikings make a determination. And George Kittle listed as questionable for Sunday against the Seahawks. Now, didn't look great on Thursday, looked a little bit better today. The Niners want to see how he's looking Saturday before they make a decision about Kittle, who's had a calf injury dating back to the Philadelphia game, got stepped on, has been bothering him, and the 49ers sure could use him in a game they have to have on Sunday against the Seahawks, Laura.
Yeah, that one really interesting between both of these teams, really looking for a big win. Let's stay on that game as we go to our smart lineup decisions brought to you by IBM Watson. Deebo Samuel facing the Seahawks is Watson's second highest ranked wide receiver this week. His projection of 25.1 fantasy points trails only Devontae Adams. Only Cooper Kupp has more receiving yards than Samuel this season. Mina, that Seahawks defense have their hands full with Deebo. Do you expect him to play better this week, though?
Well, it would be hard for them to play worse, Laura, than they did in the second half against Minnesota. And it's a better matchup for them because the Vikings offense is so good at attacking defenses through the air, and they've got those weapons in Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson. Jimmy Garoppolo, on the other hand, has not been good throwing it deep, so the Seahawks should benefit from that given their weakness in coverage. For me, it all comes down to first down. So far this season, the Seahawks defense is allowing opposing quarterbacks to post the worst QBR in the NFL, pardon me, worst for them on first down. It's over 80, which would be comparable to Matt Stafford. So if they can tighten up on first down, I think they've got a shot against a quarterback in Jimmy Garoppolo who struggles when he's forced to become a drop-back passer.
Yeah, you wonder if we'll see more of Trey Lance in this game. Over to another game. Sam Darnold taking on Dak Prescott this Sunday. Darnold coming off back-to-back games with 300 passing yards for the first time in his career. Dak's had 2 3-touchdown games already this season, but's now staring down a Carolina defense. RC, Dak could have his hands full with this Panthers defense. What's the game plan for Dallas, you think?
The game plan for Dallas is going to be what they've done through the first 3 weeks, which is go with what works. And we've seen this team put pressure on quarterbacks. We obviously saw them put Jameis in a bad situation, and they have been great in pass defense too. But with no J.C. Horn, I think they start with the run, and the run leads to the play-action pass. You can't match up like body types when you don't have your dudes out there. And right now, the Carolina Panthers don't. So they'll be trying to figure out what type of defense they'll be. Will it be zone? Will it be man? Will they match? Will they play sides? And I think that's the wrong type of situation to be in when you're facing a Dallas offense that's so multiple, so skilled, and so talented.
Yeah, another thing for Dallas, they are at home for this one, so the Panthers have to go on the road. Let's get to Lamar Jackson. He became the first player in NFL history with 200 yards in the air and 50 on the ground in each of the first 3 games. His next challenge will be the Broncos defense, which ranks 3rd in efficiency, 2nd in yards per play. Adam Schefter reporting off the top of the show. He's dealing with that back injury, but feeling better. Expected to see him out there. Marcus, will we find out if this undefeated Broncos team is for real on Sunday?
Yeah, listen, first 3 opponents, Giants, Jaguars, and Jets. Nothing to write home about. But now you get your opportunity against a really well-coached football team, a dynamic player in Lamar. But I'm looking at this Denver Broncos offense against the Baltimore Ravens defense. And when you think about this matchup for Teddy Bridgewater, this is kind of seminal moments. You get to the first quarter of the season being over, and you got a tough task with the Baltimore Ravens. The Denver Broncos not only are proving to the rest of the league, but they need to prove to themselves that they are for real in a division that is packed with really good football teams and 2 undefeated teams and 2 teams that we all know has a forward trajectory. I cannot wait to see if the Broncos are legit.
Yeah, this AFC West, man, it's absolutely loaded with talent. We got a whole lot more coming your way on NFL Live. We're getting to Patrick Mahomes. Speaking of that division, the Chiefs trying to get back on track this weekend against the Eagles. Is the answer really as simple as Mahomes not throwing a pick? Well, we'll tell you